America is often called the land of freedom, but hidden beneath that freedom is a legal system filled with rules so strange they feel almost unreal. In fact, across the United States, thousands of laws still exist that most people have never heard of, many written decades ago to solve problems that barely make sense today. And somehow, they're still technically enforceable. Welcome to more of America's most bizarre laws. And as strange as the first list was, these get even weirder. Let's start in Alaska. In Alaska, it's illegal to wake a sleeping bear just to take a photograph. Considering Alaska's massive bear population, this law is actually about survival. Bears are unpredictable, territorial, and extremely dangerous when startled. But the fact that lawmakers felt the need to specifically ban this action suggests something unsettling. Someone, at some point, thought this was a good idea. Next, we head to Arizona, where even plants are protected by the law. In Arizona, cutting down a cactus, especially certain species, can land you with massive fines or even prison time. Some cacti take decades to grow just a few inches, making them incredibly valuable to the desert ecosystem. So if you think a cactus is just a plant, Arizona law strongly disagrees. Now let's talk about pickles. In Connecticut, a pickle is only legally considered a pickle if it can bounce. This bizarre rule came from a food safety scandal in the 1940s. When vendors were selling spoiled pickles to customers, health inspectors needed a way to identify bad products quickly. Their solution: if the pickle doesn't bounce when dropped, it's not fit to be sold. Simple and incredibly strange. Moving across the Pacific, we arrive in Hawaii. In Hawaii, it's illegal to place coins in your ears. This law was created to discourage disrespectful behavior toward local culture and traditions, particularly from tourists. What might seem harmless elsewhere is taken seriously on the islands, where cultural respect is protected by law. So if you're visiting Hawaii, keep your spare change where it belongs. Now things take a darker turn. In Idaho, cannibalism is technically legal. However, there's a catch. It becomes illegal unless it's done under extreme survival circumstances. Yes, that means the law had to specifically define when cannibalism is not acceptable, and no matter how you look at it, that's unsettling. Next, let's talk about driving habits. In Kansas, screeching your tires is illegal. Even something as simple as pulling away too fast from a stoplight could technically break the law. The goal was to reduce reckless driving and excessive noise, but legally speaking, your tires might be louder than you think. Now brace yourself for Louisiana. In Louisiana, it's illegal to tie an alligator to a fire hydrant. The law never explains why, which raises a much bigger question. What happened that made lawmakers say, we need to stop this immediately? In Massachusetts, even sleep isn't completely safe from the law. Excessive snoring can be classified as a disturbance of the peace. If someone complains loudly enough, it could technically become a legal issue. Imagine being fined for sleeping too loudly. In certain parts of California, it's actually illegal to whistle for a lost canary before 7 a.m. Yes, even if your bird has escaped. Even if you're just trying to get it back. Decades ago, noise complaints were taken extremely seriously, especially in quiet residential neighborhoods. Lawmakers believed that early mornings should be peaceful, undisturbed, and silent. So, if you stepped outside before sunrise and started whistling hoping your canary might recognize the sound, that alone could be considered a disturbance of the peace. Imagine trying to explain that situation to a police officer. No, officer, I wasn't causing trouble. I was just looking for my bird. And yet, under the law, that explanation wouldn't matter, because in America, sometimes even good intentions can be illegal. In Florida, there's a law that technically makes it illegal to sing while wearing a swimsuit. Yes, singing while wearing a swimsuit. The rule was originally created to prevent public disturbances at beaches and swimming areas, where crowds, noise, and chaos were already common. Lawmakers believed that spontaneous singing could easily turn into disruption, especially in packed public spaces. Today, enforcement is almost non-existent. Most people have no idea this law even exists, but legally speaking, a beachside karaoke performance could still land you in trouble. Just imagine explaining that I wasn't causing a disturbance, officer. I was just singing. And yet, under the law, that might be enough. In Georgia, it's technically illegal to eat fried chicken with anything other than your hands. Yes, forks are discouraged. The law was originally passed as a joke, meant to celebrate and preserve what lawmakers called Southern tradition. But here's the strange part. It was officially added to local legislation. That means, at least on paper, using utensils to eat fried chicken could be considered a crime. Southern hospitality served with a side of irony. In Kentucky, it's illegal to dye ducklings and sell them unless they're being given away for free. The law was created with good intentions. Lawmakers wanted to prevent animals from being mistreated or used purely for entertainment, especially during holidays and festivals. But the wording led to an unusual outcome. Selling dyed ducklings is illegal. Giving them away is not. And while the goal was animal protection, the result is one of the strangest laws still remembered today. Sometimes, even the most thoughtful laws end up sounding unbelievable. In Indiana, a historic law states that math should not be taught on Sundays. The reasoning was simple. Sundays were meant for rest, religion, and reflection, not numbers, formulas, or equations. At the time, lawmakers believed that education, especially subjects like math, distracted from the purpose of the day. Schools no longer follow this rule today. But here's the strange part. The law was never fully removed, which means, technically speaking, math class on a Sunday was once considered illegal. Sometimes, laws don't disappear, they just fade into the background. In Maine, it's illegal to keep Christmas decorations up after January 14th. The idea behind the law was simple. Once the holidays were over, people were expected to move on and return to normal life. No more lights. No more wreaths. No more festive displays. So if your Christmas decorations are still up in February, you might technically be breaking the law. Another reminder that in America, even holiday cheer can have an expiration date. In Texas, we have one of the strangest laws of all. There's an old rule stating that you cannot own more than 6 adult toys. Anything beyond that number could be considered intent to distribute. Yes, this is real. While it's rarely, if ever, enforced today, it remains one of the most infamous examples of outdated legislation still technically on the books. A law that makes you wonder, who thought we needed a limit on pleasure? Texas is full of surprises and sometimes they're downright bizarre. And finally, we end with one of the strangest laws of all. In Missouri, it's illegal to wrestle a bear. This law was created after traveling shows used live bears as entertainment, allowing people to fight them for crowds. While bear wrestling has faded into history, the law remains. Because apparently, it had to be written down. America's laws are like a time capsule. Some were created to protect people, some were written to solve very specific problems. And others leave us wondering what kind of chaos existed before they were banned. So tell us, which law shocked you the most? And if you enjoy uncovering bizarre facts, forgotten rules, and strange truths hidden in plain sight, subscribe for more, because somehow America gets even stranger.